you ever see these, pick them off the road, cause a mad crash, gets caught in your wheel, straight over the bars. Hey. To the bunch, this is the fastest bunch in the world, the fittest bunch in the world, the weekly ride. This is a super Elliot's bunch, Saturday morning. I think Alan Gill maybe started this probably back in 1970, maybe 1960, I'm not sure, but Alan Gill, South Australian cycling icon, been around a long time. Good for a yarn, good for some banter. This is a super Elliot group. It is an experienced riders only group, so it's otherwise can be very, very dangerous if you don't have any racing experience or etc. So yeah, I wouldn't recommend joining this group unless you've got some racing experience. Otherwise, it could be very, very dangerous. So we're going to go up Norton Summit here. I'm just sort of at the back of the group, and now I'm going to go to the front. Why am I doing that? Because I know this bunch is about to split up, and so I'm going to get on the back of a couple of bunch of riders that I know, I'm going to be doing around the similar time up this Norton Summit climb. But I know I'm going to be doing about a mid 13 minutes today, mid 13 minutes. So I'm going to position myself behind the riders who I know are going to be doing that around that time. I'm not going to go to the very front because I'm not going to be holding anyone up, and I'm just going to go to the back here. And I'm not going to go to the very back because as soon as the pace goes on, I have to go around a bunch of riders. So this is a good tactic, or if you always want to move to the front of the bunch at the start of a climb. But then again, a lot of other people have the same idea. So, but what you see here in this bunch, people have already done that. Prior to me, joining into this bunch, people have already sifted themselves out in order. People at the back, if they're a little bit slower, or people at the front, if they're a bit faster, and that's cool. So that's a good thing as well. Is know your position in the bunch or where you want to be, and then go from there. What you can do as well is you could go to the front of the bunch, and you could pull a bit of a turn, and then just swing off to the left or to the right, depending on what country you're in, and then just drift back to the back of the group. So that's another way as well you can do that. But today is going to be a fast climb. This is a full all-out race pace, as you'll see in a moment. So we're just cruising along here. This is a good way to train. It's just on, off. So we're just riding off at the moment. We're just cruising along, and I'm sitting behind this rider here, who's I've recognised from 20 years ago. This guy's a very good road racing cyclist, a lot of experience. His wife's a gun female rider. And so yeah, just this guy in the green here, the white socks on the Specialized S-Works, a lot of experience. Probably one of the most experienced riders in this bunch today. I mean, there's a lot of experience in this bunch, a lot of quality riders, a lot of junior riders as well, who are going doing some crazy watts per kilo at the moment. Some freaky stuff going on right now in Adelaide. There's something in the water here. There's something in the water. I've never ever seen junior riders this quick before. This is even quicker than Rowan Dennis and Jack Brodbridge and Dale Parker and guys like that back in the day. It's pretty freaky. It's pretty impressive. It's pretty cool. So we're swinging left. Right, this is the Strava segment. Norton Summit starts about now. And we're going to launch up here. This pace is a bit pedestrian at the start. And this junior rider here on the Giant, he moves up. And I'm thinking that's a good move. I'm going to move on his wheel because he can sense something's about to happen. Isn't that amazing? You've got a junior rider who already understands the tactics of moving up and positioning the bunch. That's pretty amazing. Now he's attacked straight away because he's on the wheel. And this guy here in the green, this is Will Holmes, who's 14. I think maybe he's lying on his passport. This is 14. And look at that. Look at the ferocity. I'm not even going to try and hold that wheel because I know these guys are about a minute faster than me up the climb. And if I bridge that gap, hold the wheel, in about 4 to 5 minutes, I'm going to be going explosion town. I'm going to implode. So with lactic acid and hydrogen on. So I'm just letting them go away. And they're really surging. That's a big surge. Fastest time today was Dan Potter and Carl Evans. 2:02 and a 12:02 and a 12:03, and the rest of the guys sort of blew up a little bit, but they still did a fantastic effort. So I'm on the front now, and it looks like there's no one left, but there's a whole big bunch on the back of my wheel here, and this is why I generally ride on the back of groups to get the footage, to get the entertainment, and see what's going on. Because right now, all we can see is some people going off into the sunrise, and so behind me is a massive string of groups of people. We've got I'm in the front of the second group. The first group's just gone up the road. I'm in the second group here, and behind that's a third, a fourth, a sixth, and probably a seventh group. That's how big the pack was. And now riders moving around the front there. Because I've slowed up a bit, I'm like, okay, let's just roll some turns off, and there's a big chain that's come along. This is a chain gang. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to slot into the back of this group in the last wheel or third last wheel or wherever. Seems good, and there's more people coming up. And so we're doing about 380 watts or whatever, which doesn't really mean much because you might be way more than me or way less than me. So that's why I'm not putting that much power data up here, because it's a bit irrelevant. If you want the full data, you can just get on Strava there. There's so disc brake bikes. All these guys race A grade, Div 1 Open or Div 1 Masters, etc. So experienced bunch of riders, dedicated riders. These are the riders who I would say with confidence in this second group here, and including the first group, I've trained the least. A little bit of a touch of brakes there. So again, these guys are experienced. This is why you wouldn't want to come out in this bunch. All right, if you're an inexperienced rider, you would have crashed then. All right, all these guys are racers. So when you're a racer, you've had your crashes, you've paid your dues, so to speak, and you're good to go. So if you're an inexperienced rider holding on there, you probably would have crashed when there was a touch of brakes. But we've all got racing experience here, all pretty competent bike handlers in the bunch, etc. So what was I saying? Yeah, so Div 1 Open, Cat 1 riders here, Masters and Open Elite, etc. So experienced riders, decent watts, hammering along here. My legs, I'm about to pull the pin. I'm just thinking, man, I'm not what's going on today. I was cramping up. My head was great. My calves were good. My bike was excellent. My breathing, I had no pussy fur in my throat. I was just breathing, no worries. Did a good warm up. Got the sugar water going on. I was feeling fantastic, but my legs were cramping up, and I'm thinking, man, what's going on? I really think I just didn't drink enough water the last few days. I'm not sure what's going on there, but I just think I just didn't drink enough water the last few days because my power today was really low. It was really low compared to a couple of weeks ago. So yeah, my power was just off, and that's the beauty of a power meter. If I didn't have power today, I don't have power meter on all my bikes, but if I didn't have a power meter today, I wouldn't know did I do good or bad, because my time was okay for my fitness at the moment, but my power was really low, So it's just my legs were off. I also had some new shoes I've been wearing today that I haven't worn for a couple of months, so that was probably a bit of a rookie error. But my other shoes have been falling apart, so I've been using these shoes. So maybe that caused the cramping. I don't know. But I wasn't going to let it be used as an excuse. So even though I wanted to pull out right now, or a few minutes ago, I'm like, man, you got to get some footage. You got to get some footage for YouTube, all right? You can't just be swinging off now. So I'm just going to ride until my legs actually, explode. I'm going to ride till I'm done, And so my breathing, my lungs are great. Everything's really going well, but my legs were just shutting down. And there's just a point where your physiology catches up, and it's like left, right, good night. But I thought I've still got a while to get there, even though my legs are screaming at me. Just my legs are absolutely screaming at me right now. And it's not a glucose exhaustion bonk because my head was still good, but I think it's just like a contractile tissue dehydration, which is sort of fine. But when you're trying to hold 350 watts or whatever, 400 watts or whatever, or accelerate at 450 watts, the contractile tissue is just not agreeing with me. So there's a few surges here and there, relatively smooth because these guys are very experienced riders and they pace really well. And we're just trying to catch a few of the juniors that sort of start to cook themselves there in that microwave pace. And there's a guy walking the dog down the road. That's all right. But he's got a red shirt on, so he's reasonably visible. But maybe wear something a bit more brighter. But you got a big bunch of cyclists coming at fast speeds, so yeah, you want to be careful out there, people. Stay visible, stay bright. So yeah, this is the deal here. Just my legs are screaming at me, man, screaming at me, and that's where my head game was really good today because I was just really ignoring the pain. I wasn't giving pain a voice today. I'm just thinking, man, every second you can stay on this wheel, get the GoPro footage, good to go, good to go. And there was a big, I knew there was heaps of riders behind me trying to catch on. We got here. It's Daniel in the green, very experienced rider. He's like, no, I've just had enough. I'm outie. I'm checking out. So he swings off, and then there's one more rider just behind me. He's about to come around because I'm starting to really feel it, and I think he could sense that I was starting to really just fade. And so he's like, I'm not gonna. Yep, here we go. This is it. So this guy here, this rider here, the calves, he could experienced rider as well. He's an experienced rider. He could sense my fatigue, and he's like, well, I got to get that gap, otherwise I'm gonna have to do more work. And when durianrider just drops the wheel. So that's what you're going to do. You want to always be paying attention, not for your own safety, but always paying attention to the physiology of the riders in front. If you can sense a rider's about to drop, move around him, and fill the gap. All right. So that's what I did. I opened up a gap, and this rider, we'll call him Calves, he's just come around. He's like, fill the gap. And I'm like, cool. That's just how riding goes. And so you can see the physiology differences here. You got look at those junior riders at the start. Super small guys, not much muscle. I mean, they're only 14, but look at the power they're putting out. Just flying up dancing up the hills, sprinting up the hills, man. And then you got us older riders. I'm probably the oldest rider in this bunch. We've got more mass, more muscle, but yet these young guys are just flexing up the hill. So that's where musculature doesn't really help you as a cyclist on the hills. In the track sprints may be different, or definitely different, but on the hill, you can be pretty lightweight. But it's very impressive the speeds that these teenage kids are doing these days up Norton Summit. It's insane. These are kids that could be professional riders, World Tour riders, if the stars align, and if that's what they want, they could definitely be up there. They just have that natural gift, physiology-wise, and also the hunger to want to suffer, because this sport is all about suffering. This sport is all about suffering, and if you don't like pain, then drop off the watts there, ease it back. So we're cruising along here, and I'm just like, how long can I hold on for? I've held on this long. I thought, might as well keep going a little bit more, and I'm just going to keep riding until my contractile tissue just says, nah, see ya, we're outie. But yeah, I love that. It's just like a meditation, in the pain, and it's also good for the ego as well, because I normally do these watts. I can do these watts for an hour. The watts I did today on this climb, I can literally do for 1 hour. And today I'm struggling to do it for like 10 minutes. So there's just something up in my hydration. I've done the least Ks out of anyone, but that's just because I'm lazy. But it's just great having motivated people like this to test yourself against. So my ego was just saying, oh, this is bullshit, Harley. You can do these watts. What are you doing? And I was like, yep. It's just sometimes you have a good day or a bad day. So you see that gap I've opened up there. So now I'm just really, that gap's open. I'm like, come on, close it. I think there's a bit of a surge there. And I'm like, come on, close it. Hold the wheel. Hold the goddamn wheel, Harley. And so it's just good for the ego to, not be able to do my normal watts, which I expected. I had that anticipation and expectation and entitlement today, but I couldn't. And I'm just like, right at this point now, I'm just basically pedaling with my arms, just yanking the bars, doing my best to hold on. And there's another surge. You can see some gaps open up there a little bit. And there's another surge. And then Sergio says, Harley, see you later, mate. It's time to go. Time to have a sleep. But what I did is I kept pushing to the line. All right, here we go. There's a surge here. I'm at the saddle. Look at that. Out the saddle, just trying to match that surge. It's not even a hard surge. I could normally do it, but today I couldn't. My legs, the contractile tissues are saying, no, look at that. And then there's a big surge there. You can sort of see some riders out the saddle, and now it's just like game over. Maybe some looked over their shoulder and said, hey, we've dropped durianrider. Let's turn it up even more. But that was it. That was left, right, good night. But I'm not going to sit up. I'm not going to, sit up and beg. I'm going to keep knocking it out as best as I can. Always give it your best to the line. Always give it your best to the line. So look at that gap that's just opened up like that. That gap's just open right up. That's a Mandingo gap. And I'm riding by myself. And you can sort of see here, this group split up as well. You can sort of see them splitting up already now. There's a rider, I think, just popped off the back there. And that's someone passing. But this group split up as well. And you sort of see, if you look closely, maybe we can zoom in there, that this group split up. And then this little micro group started with that. And you can see there's a rider there in the black there with the white shoes or white socks. He's like, nah, I'm done as well. and you can see that group's really strung out. So, this time we did today's, it's not as fast as my PR. And this guy, he's just like, yep. He's a guy that trains hard as well. So all these guys train, they put the work in, and they're all looking lean. They're looking tin and fit. And, I'm probably on the cheapest bike in this bunch. But people love it. I love that, we have such a community here cycling. And there's banter. There's disagreements. There's all that stuff. But that's just normal. But it's just great that you can roll out your door, jump up on your bike, up Norton Summit, and you always got someone to push against. Whether you're the fastest dude out there or the slowest chick out there or whatever, there's always someone for you to test yourself against, That's the cool thing about Australia. You can just see what happened that day and things like that. So there's another rider here from that group. No, that's just a rider who was doing their own thing. And so basically I'm just going as hard as I can to the line. And the rider here behind me, I think his name's JP. He's just sitting on there. He's from South Africa. I'm just going to turn up to the line, which is all good and done. And this is a part of Norton Summit where your legs really want to take it easy because it starts to flatten off. And today's conditions are really, really good. There was no real wind. It's beautiful air quality, just really, really good air quality. And it was just perfect conditions, really. Perfect conditions. But my little contractile tissue in my little legs just wasn't having any part of it. But this is where you, if you're not having the best day leg-wise, this is where you can train your brain. So right now, my legs don't want to be trained, but my brain can always be trained. So I'm just going as hard as I can with these legs, and I'm grateful for it. I've got total gratitude here. I'm not like, oh my God. I'm not whining at all. I'm not whining. I'm not kicking myself. I'm just like, come on, man, keep going. Good work. Keep pushing. If you can't train your legs, let's train your head. If you can't train your head, you can train your lungs. You can always train something when you're on the bike, right? You can train your posture. You can train your pedaling technique or whatever. You can train a lot. Adelaide's very, very popular, isn't it, for cycling? It's fantastic. The line's about to come up now. So I'm just trying to squeeze every bit of what's out of myself. Just train that head to go all the way to the line. And it's just a marvelous place, Adelaide. You can't beat it, man. There was so many bunches out this morning. It's just unreal. There's just such a depth of cycling talent here from all aspects. You got your racers, you got your track riders, you got your mountain bikers, you got your commuters, you got your noobs, you got everyone, man. You got your oldies, your youngies, your middles, you got your mammals, you got your mammals. So you got everything. That's the line back there. Just that fun. what you got to say. Go head down. Head down. If you ever do, look up beforehand. Only put your head down for a second or so. Even best, don't even do that. So there you go. That's the ride. Hope you enjoyed it. Norton Summit, the fastest, the fittest bunch in the world. If you know a fitter bunch in the world, send me a response video down below. There's not a fitter bunch in the world than this. I challenge you to find a fitter bunch than the Super Elliott Alan Gill Classic Saturday morning bunch ride. I challenge you to find me a fitter bunch of guys who are going to just light it up, right? And as you saw today, right, you got the next generation of pro cyclists here coming off the Saturday morning bunch. It's crazy. The power, the times, that's fast, man. That's appreciative.